Hello Year 10 Generals. This video we are going to be addressing angles and parallel lines. So there'll be a bit of firstly just understanding a couple of terms and rules, and then we jump into an example using these rules. So to start us off, I'm going to talk about what a transversal line is. So a transversal is a line cutting two or more other lines, and it's often represented in your book something like this. So this line is cutting the two parallel lines, and therefore we call it a transversal. Alrighty, moving on to corresponding angles, alright, often represented by saying the F rule. You can see an F there. So these ones are equal. Alright, so if I give you a quick example, alright, if this one here, this angle here is 62 degrees, using this rule, using the corresponding angle rule, this angle down here is also 62 degrees. Just note that your F can look like a normal F. It can also look like this. So in the normal F, we know those two look the same. In the back to front F, those two are the same. Again, it can be flipped. So those two are the same, and flipped and upside down as well. And what that means that these two are going to be the same as well. Alright, alternate angles are often also represented as a Z rule. Here's the Z. These ones are also equal. So another example. Alright, if that one here is 40 degrees, using the Z rule, this one here is also 40 degrees. And just note that your Z can look backwards as well, like that. Alright, so those angles are the same. Jumping into something a little bit different now is the cointerior angles. So these angles A and B must add to 180 degrees using this rule, which we can call supplementary. So supplementary just means add to 180 degrees. It's often represented as a U rule or C, depending on how it's drawn. So for an example, this angle in here is 100 degrees. That means that using this rule, they have to add up to 180 degrees. So that would mean it's 80 degrees. Just noting that these angles here add to 180 degrees. Your U can also look upside down and can look like a C. That's why it's often called C rule as well, and a back to front C as well. All right, just before we jump into an example, just want to refresh your brains about supplementary angles. And these ones, remember, like I said before, add to 180 degrees, and they're on a straight line. Complementary is when you have a right angle, and they are going to add to 90 degrees. So, for example, if that is 60, A is going to be 30 because they have to add to 90 degrees. Vertically opposite, again, looks like an X. So these guys are going to be the same. That also means that this angle here and this angle here are going to be the same. So just highlight equal. And revolution is the sum to 360 degrees. So it's often represented like this. Means that all the angles have to add to 360 degrees. All right, let's jump into an example. And I'm just going to add some space. All right. Oh, just deleted. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, so in our example, it is asking us to find the values of the pronumerals in this diagram, right? And in each case, I want you to write down the reasoning and how you found that, what rule you used. All right, first of all, we're going to start off with A. So to find A, we can use the supplementary angle rule, so that's 150 degrees, and we know that on a straight line it has to add up to 180 degrees. So A is going to equal 180 minus 150, sorry, because that's the angle there, is going to equal 30 degrees, right? And this is using the supplementary angle rule. All right. Now we can jump straight in and find B. So as you can see here, A, which we just found, was 30 degrees, and there's B. Everyone see the Z? All right. So we can jump straight in and say that A degrees equals B degrees, and A is 30 degrees. Therefore, B is 30 degrees. So B equals 30 degrees using the Z or alternate rule. All right, let's find C. So C, we can use the U rule, co-interior. So we know that A is 30 degrees. These two have to add to 180 degrees. All right, so C, just put a little C there, is going to equal 180 minus 30 degrees, which is going to give you 150 degrees, because these two angles have to add to 180. All right, just going to insert a little bit more space. We can now find D, which is our last one. And we can use this by the opposite rule. So we know that this is 150 degrees. So down here in D, we know that these two angles are equal. So D equals 150 degrees using the vertically opposite rule. And up here, just making sure that in C we highlight our rule, which was the using the co-interior rule. All right, thank you very much.